we shall discuss the fourth important part of the plant, that is flowers. So flowers can be of different sizes, shapes, color, but all the flowers have the same basic parts. So what are the parts of a flower? The main parts of the flower are the pedicel and thalamus, the calyx or sepals, the corolla or petals, androecium or stamens, gynoecium and pistils. The other name for gynoecium is pistil. So these are the all parts. We will discuss the first part, that is pedicel and thalamus. The flower is borne on a stalk, as you can see. This stalk, the yellow portion that you can see, is the pedicel. The swollen part of the pedicel is known as the thalamus or receptacle. It bears all the four whorls of the flower. Here the swollen part, as you can see, has been termed as the thalamus. The next is the calyx or sepals. The outermost whorl of the flower is the calyx. The green ones that you can see, those green leaf-like structures are known as the sepals, and these sepals are usually found to be green in color. We have the calyx that also protects the flower during the bud stage. So during the bud, when the flower is a bud, it is protected by calyx. Next we have the corolla or petals. The colored portion of the flower is known as the corolla. Each petal you can see, each part of the corolla is known as the petal. They are usually very brightly colored due to the pigment present in them. So the bright color, sweet smell and the nectar that they have is used to attract the insects. Next we have the androecium or stamens. It is the third whorl of the flower, which is composed of one or more male reproductive organs. Now each organ you can see here is known as the stamen. So each stamen contains a thin stalk. The lower one that you can see is the filament, and the upper portion you can see the two-lobed head, that is known as anther. We have the anther and the filament connected by a connective tissue. Now here each anther lobe has its own pollen sacs. Each anther lobe has two pollen sacs, and which are filled with all the pollen grains. And pollen grains are the ones which are very small in size and they take part in reproduction. So gynoecium or pistil is the fourth whorl of the flower. It is composed of one or more female reproductive organs. Now here you can see each carpel, the lower portion is the carpel, above the carpel you can see is the ovary, and you have the style, and finally the above portion is stigma. So stigma is the terminal part of the pistil. As you can see, it is very sticky and hairy. Now stigma is meant for receiving the pollen grains during pollination, as it is very sticky and has hairs. You have the style, which is a thread-like structure connecting stigma to the ovary. So it transfers the pollen grains from stigma to the ovary. The base part, as you can see, is a very swollen part, and that is known as the ovary of the flower. The ovary bears the ovules and on a swollen tissue. As you can see, it has ovules, that is the small female reproductive eggs, and those ovules are present on a swollen tissue, as you can see in the middle, which is known as placenta. So each ovule contains the female reproductive cells or eggs. So that was about the parts of a flower.